Sonic games lately have been on the right track and got plenty of stuff done in the right way. Frontiers got the franchise back up and running, Sonic X Shadow Generations did great in sales and won a few rewards, and Superstars, well, exists. Gone are the days of when Sonic was nothing but a laughingstock to the public, leaving some folks embarrassed to be fans, along with people who are terrified of gimmicks and intriguing plot lines with unique details. And unfortunately, let's not forget the folks who thought yelling at a screen would get people to change their minds. The only ones that still try to dunk on Sonic these days are stubborn gamers who try way too hard to sound different or funny, and the fanbase itself. Although it's not like I can say that some of the criticism fans have been spewing out lately haven't been valid. I don't just mean the discourses about characterization, models, or body proportions. I mean, hey, I can at least respect the ones that actually try and commit to the issues they have and give rational reasons. But something that has been creating more discussions than usual is of course none other than Sonic Racing Crossworlds. Yeah, a new Sonic Racing title is on the way in case you forgot due to the little promotions we've gotten before all the leaks and the Summer Game Fest trailer. I wasn't even aware about the new trailer once it came out because, But anyway, just like many other games, Crossworlds basically has been all over the place lately. I don't think it'll suck by any means because most of what I've seen from it seems like it could do well. The game did win the award for Best of the Summer Game Fest after all. Positivity aside, there's something about this game that kinda gives me the same feeling that a lot of Sonic games give me, and that's the feeling of thinking that Sega might not know what to do with this game. Where could all the troubles for this racing game even come from? Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. Now let's get started before people start leaving their hate comments, assuming they haven't done so as soon as they clicked this video. First off, the marketing. This isn't really something that's much of an issue now, especially since we're getting more and more details by the second currently. But Sonic's marketing team seems to be tripping over their own feet again with this one. Thankfully, it's not on the level of Frontiers, where we've basically gotten little to nothing in the span of several months. Or even Sonic Rumble, if that's even still a thing. I'm pretty sure the folks behind it are trying to pretend it never happened. The silence is deafening. And sure, one could argue that the transparent marketing could build up hype or whatever, but considering we just had this, I doubt there's gonna be much of a challenge. And given how investment-heavy Nintendo fans are, that only backs up my statement even more. Also, isn't it weird how they were a little bit more specific with the release for Shadow Gens than this game? It did just say autumn 2024, but I'll take that over waiting until the halfway mark of the year for the release date. It would have been worse if there wasn't a lot of content within the game, but after viewing all the info, the game will be cluttered with stuff to do, thankfully. Again, not the end of the world with this one, but it wouldn't hurt to improve about stuff like that for future games. Next up is something that I know is going to ring a bell with other folks who also complained about this. The pricing. Now, this is the part of the video where I'm supposed to be screaming at the top of my lungs at this gaming company for doing something as foreseeable as charging a lot for this game. As hilariously crazy that would be, guess what? I'm not gonna. Don't view that as me trying to glaze up a storm for this franchise. Ha! Funny word, isn't it? Glaze, glaze, glaze. It's just that we've already had the whole Switch 2 console and game above $60 argument about a week ago, so bickering about it for a third time, we'd basically be throwing a tantrum over a spilled sippy cup. At this point, just don't buy the game, or if you're sane, unlike me, you'll wait for the game to get a discount and buy it then. Not to mention, people are making it seem like the game itself will cost $90 when that couldn't be more incorrect. The digital deluxe version is $90, but the standard edition is $70. If you're playing it on the Switch, it's even cheaper at $60. Sheesh, now we have to refer to $60 as cheap now. And if you're someone who willingly paid $80 for Mario Kart World, what's the big deal? At least Crossworlds seems to be making it well worth the price. Even a bit more so than World if you ask me, but nobody's ready for that combo just yet. So in any case, quit spreading around partially false info. Now we've reached a topic that I'm sure we're all on the edge of our seats waiting for me to address. Hatsune Miku and SpongeBob Square Frickin' Pants are in the same game with Sonic the Hedgehog. Life is great. Okay, but in all seriousness, this is the kind of thing I've been wanting for the Sonic Racing games again. Random and goofy characters that you may or may not have seen coming. While this is shocking, you gotta remember how we had Banjo-Kazooie and Sega All-Stars Racing and Wreck-It Ralph and Transformed. You have no idea how much I've missed this. Although what would have made it all the more exciting is if those stupid-ass leakers didn't once again take the fun out of waiting for game trailers and announcements. Even Azuka confirmed that the team's bummed out about this leak stuff, which says a lot. No wonder he doesn't engage himself through Sonic Twitter.
All right, I gotta leave, okay?
John, we just started. Come on, man.
Listen, there's a lot to see in this life. Not wasting it here.
But hey, if SpongeBob being in the same game as Sonic is possible, then maybe there's hope for something like this? You know what? Forget I mentioned that. Oh yeah, and we also got Steve from Minecraft. Yay? I don't know, I don't play Minecraft. I'm not that annoying nerd from middle school. Something that could make this even better is if Garfield came back to do another collab with the Blue Blur, but yeah. Of course, there's talk about the IDW characters like Tangle and Whisper joining the roster as well. The characters that we're supposed to believe are in the same universe given how they wanted to have IDW be canon. Whatevs, better to have them featured here instead of those intruders. Alright, but now it's time we address the only important thing here, and that's the fact that Werehog is gonna be playable, baby! Look at him! Look at my boy! He's back! But wait just a minute. Does this mean that we are finally gonna hear Roger Craig Smith give his take on the Werehog voice?
This one comes from the audience. If you were to do the Werehog voice, what would it sound like?
I'm a werehog.
His proper take on the voice? If so, then it's about damn time. Either that or they'll hire somebody else to do the voice, because I doubt the company is desperate on getting back Jason Griffith. AKA...
The GOAT! The GOAT!
I mean, if the man can voice Ezio and Batman, then I'm expecting an above-average Werehog voice. Not that it's gonna top Jason's performance in Unleashed, but Roger is still allowed to give it a try. While we're on the topic of Unleashed, can we talk about how much representation Crossworlds seems to be giving that game? Windmill Isle, Dragon Road, and the GOAT himself are all in this game. Not just for this game, but just take a look at stuff like the Tales Tube episode and Unleashed Recom, and it's not in a disrespectful way. So, could this be hinting a little something that's to come in the near future? Who knows. Either way, Sonic Unleashed is still getting the respect it deserves. You know you love to see it. Then we had the discourse characterization of the Sonic cast in the game, more specifically, Amy Rose, for the 800th time. Here we have folks once again saying Amy seems a bit less herself after Frontiers. Like she's not quite the same as she was before. Even though I'm sure people had similar thoughts about her actions in Free Riders and some of her interactions in TSR too. If this were a mainline game, then I'd most likely have different feelings towards it, but since this is a spin-off, I barely feel obligated to do so. I will admit that it isn't consistent for her to be completely calm about Jet trash-talking her even though she would have truly let him have it in the Riders games. Before I was quite stingy with how they would make Amy's character, which is why I made that video, but nowadays I'm like, do whatever you want, I don't care, the fans make me too tired to care. And unfortunately, I have to say this in every video where I mention anything about Amy. I'm not saying I understand Amy's character more than anyone else, nor do I hate her as a character. I have a plush of her made by Great Eastern after all. Although the people claiming that it doesn't make sense for Sonic to call Shadow Faker outside of SA2 is fairly accurate. And finally, our last topic. We've got something that might not be a huge deal in the grand scheme of things, but Sonic fans will still try and squeeze a debate out of it. The main vocal theme that plays in the CGI intro. But first things first, we gotta be positive so that the toxic positivity nerds won't come after me. The animation here is spectacular and makes me wish Marza would stick around for a mainline game and not just a spin-off game. Also, if I hear another person claim that Shadow is running over Sonic here when he's clearly running over Metal Sonic, the main vocal theme though, let me just say that it's safe to assume that we now have a vocal theme that surpasses the cheesiness of most of the heroes' vocal themes. And people thought Run It from Movie 3 was nothing but a cringe fest. Alright, but on a serious note, I don't think the main vocal theme is the worst thing in the world, but it doesn't hold a candle to the vocal themes we've had for the franchise prior to Crossworlds. Greenlight Ride is at least enough to get me to bob my head up and down. Maybe not as much as others, but you get the point. I don't know about you, but I'd much rather have a Sonic vocal theme that sounds like it belongs in an anime, or at least one that describes the personality and vibe of the overall game. Not a song that sounds like it belongs in either a Saturday morning cartoon or an intro theme that belongs in the English dub of a Japanese anime made by 4Kids. Sure, it might sound very nitpicky, but I'd hardly call that the case because if they went the extra mile to make this for a kart racer, then I'd say it's justified. Speaking of nitpicking, something I would like this game to feature is having the characters sport their extreme gear from the Riders games, since, well, that's the game they originated from. Well, those are all my pre-thoughts on Crossworlds at the moment. Currently, I have pretty high expectations for this game. It certainly has the potential of being the best Sonic racer. But the real question is, will this game have a story mode? Possibly, but I feel if it were not to have one, they would have confirmed it a while ago. Come back to this video in about a few months or after the game's release, and feel free to mock me if what I say here ages poorly. At the end of the day, you nerds can have all the heated debates you want, but to me, neither of these games need to surpass each other. Because Kirby Air Riders is gonna mop the floor with those two games, yeah!